Okay, so NVDA earnings is out. It was 5% expectations into the report. And as of futures right now, we're up 5.78%. So I'm short on SPY. I had the NVIDIA lottos, as well as a few other long positions. And the goal is that we get a nice continuation in the pre-market. I get paid on my NVIDIA calls. Those spring back to life and give me some profits, and then I look for a peak on SPY before we come back and we touch our two. It's a bit goofy right here, but it looks like this might be something like A B C, and then A B C up, C up, maybe C up to 171. And if C's at 171, let's see if it gives us our. We should see a perfect 1, and at 2. Oh, look at that. At 7, at the 2 down here. So it's right about there. So let's see if we get that. It's actually pretty good. It's been pretty good mapping on, and that would complete a typical ABC correction down, an ABC correction that's composed of ABCs, right? So let's see if we get that move to the 755. Again, if we break that, if we break that, we're going to start the conversation about potentially not having a post-election rally, which is typical for like bullish midterm years. There's a lot of risk on the table. There's a lot of things I don't like right now that I feel like the market was annoying because it was I feel like the market was ignoring because of the upcoming earnings. And now that earnings is out, I'm not sure if that report or even the reaction to that report, I'm not even sure if it was good enough to pay me on my lottos. So I'll be really interested to see if this turns into a rollover tomorrow. I see that, like, even though the video is finding higher highs in the after hours and the futures, we set a high and kind of rolled over, and now we're kind of like forming another rollover. Honestly, your structure here isn't that bad quite yet. And the 65-minute looks just fine. Yeah, so I definitely wouldn't call time of death on it yet. So let's see if we can creep a little bit higher. And then see if we can get that touch on the 2. And maybe it just blows me out. I got to cut it, and we chase stuff longer. If that is the case, there should be a lot cleaner pre-market setups than we've seen over the last week or so. Which, I mean, honestly, just market conditions, it's been tough, man. All of this was kind of trash. We printed nice when we got the breakout. I mean, pretty much every time we've gotten a nice breakout, we've been right there for it. We've been right there in the moments that it counts, and then surviving in moments where it's tough. So let's see if I'm curious to see if I can finesse this moment in this tough conditions, find my bottom, and then look for this much larger rally that should pretty much continue to the end of the year. Maybe one more dip in October before we have like a bullish November, December. Again, my invalidation is if we come back into this nonsense. I don't want to see that, because that could easily fall apart into a much nastier trend. To break us down into that, by the way, you probably need something like a hike or a major geopolitical event, which, by the way, doesn't seem to be a shortage of those possibilities. Trump said, talking about getting a massive trade war with Canada, and at the same time making threats on China. And then this morning there was like apparently hacks in like every major government department from Chinese hackers. So probably did it with AI, which is honestly bullish AI. Um, yeah, but there's also the big supercomputer coming from Mac, and they're gonna rent it. What does that mean for local machines and local AI? Um, what does that do to neo clouds and stuff? Because honestly, earnings were great when it comes to like the data center, but also if there is a huge blue wave in the election, and if you guys have been following, if any of you are friends with me on Facebook, you can see that people they excuse my language, but this is the proper way to describe. They fucking hate data centers. I mean, people are literally calling me a paid AI shill. They're saying I'm being paid by AI to talk well about data centers, and I'm just an evil person who's trying to destroy the environment and ruin everyone's ears, and just whew, they are mad. I'm like working for the cabal who's watching and wants to, they're like flock equals data center, which I just, yeah. Anyways, I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying the point is that there's definitely a political push against data centers. Honestly, we don't even have to talk about whether it's rational or not because it doesn't fucking matter. If people ban them, then they're gonna ban them. So we just gotta react to that. So it is what it is. So my job isn't to tell you guys how to think. My job is to about politics, that is, but how to make money. So whatever happens, we're gonna try to make money off of it. Simple as that. But how does the market react to that? I'm not actually totally positive. I know eventually what will happen is probably a evaporation of supply, but still same demand, which causes existing data centers to have higher margins and make more money. But the initial reaction might be like sell all the data centers, because markets love to overreact to headlines, right? So that might turn into a great buy the dip moment. Yeah, we'll have to see what comes. There's a lot. I think, and just that the fact that I'm uncertain about several different things, both like globally and politically, and this market is approaching all-time highs. Kind of tells me that it's not really pricing in risks the way it should be. So, that kind of puts us at that wave 2 target, right? So, that's where my thoughts are. Everything else is pretty peripheral to that. I guess I'll just touch on this just for a moment, though. CEG is the biggest loser on the year. And it's going to be hard to kind of put the emotions aside and say, you know what, like, a setup is a setup. And I know that this thing, burned me here. And I know it can burn me brutally like it did here. But honestly, when this thing does get its breakouts, they're not chill in any way, shape, or form. They're usually pretty vicious. Let's go to a wider chart so we can better see that. Oh, hello. We're bugged. Thank you. Yeah, so when this thing tests these breakouts, they look pretty chill, and then they have these monster rallies. So it's kind of like if you want to play this, you kind of got to get in. It's definitely cooling up really nicely into this. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that with size. Giving it a shot. Not as much size as I would normally take for something that's like testing this multi-year trend line with the weekly about to turn. But as we've seen before, we had the similar setup, and then it gapped down viciously. It is what it is. You take the reps, right? So I'm hoping this time we get that. When this thing moves, it moves. So even if it burns me again, when this thing prints, it'll probably pay for all the attempts on the one go. So it's just one of those things where I can't know for certain if it's going to move, but we take the setups as they come. We follow the process, and over 100 trades, we get paid, right? What was the other thing? SLS. Kind of waiting. The bot, oddly enough, hasn't given a short signal on this, but Ready had its first report. When Ready gets a short signal, it usually means top is in. Double top with some exhaustion does look appealing for a short, but I'm kind of waiting for the AI to say, yep, this thing's dead. Like it did with Car earlier this year. Then we're also looking for Figure to get a move. Looks pretty good. Nice pullback. Pullback looks healthy. Weekly about the turn. It's just broke out. Major trend. I don't think I over want to react here. I'm already playing with profits. Yeah, there was a loss today, but we're playing with profits. So let's ride the chin. Ride the trend. Ride the chin. I don't know. My brain's not working tonight. Lean looks good. It's a little annoying how sideways this is, especially with the wide spreads. Like kill the premiums without it actually moving. They're not really they're not really killing the premiums. They're just widening the spreads. So that midpoint makes it look like there's big losses when there really isn't. So I don't like how the 2-day. Oh, it did. It did turn again. It did turn and defend into the close. Yeah, it did. It didn't even blow up as much into the close as the premiums did. See, that's what I'm talking about. That looks fine. Chopping in a range. Another one when I think we're playing with pretty good profits. Yeah, another one we're playing with profits. And yeah, that's all I got. TLT looks fine. Sorry, I'm sorry. I need to go to bed, man. My brain's not working at night. I apologize. TLT looks fine. It looks like it's going to get a further extension. We had the SPY on VKTX. Some widespreads there. I know there was a nice bid in healthcare today. This trend looks like it's trying another breakout. It looks like it's developing a new resistance. Looks like something like this is forming. So let's see if we can get a breakout through that. Overall, it looks just fine. Like this is your actually a bearish trend, right? So as long as we stay above that and the fundamentals are solid, I want to keep exposure to that. And GX looks just fine. It's actually we gotta zoom in a little bit on this one. Looks just fine. Looks like we're trying to set in some higher lows. If that holds up, I'm fine holding the position. Recent low here, the 424 is a size down for me. I'd probably come back in later, by the way, to look for some sort of triple bottom on 364. And we got a nice reaction on a PTLR. And that might be a nice continuation into tomorrow. I think that the hacks on all the government departments was an interesting intraday day trade. I do think this chart looks a little bit worrisome. Like that 2-day looks awfully peaked. The weekly looks fine. The daily is kind of rolling over. Yeah, that TTM looks a bit wild. It looks very toppy to me. So I just don't want to get in and then watch this thing like kind of blow through the bottom of this wedge or something. I did a good. I do think it's it's an odd structure, right? If this was a structure like, let's go back. This is an amazing bullish structure, right? It's a megaphone. It's beautiful. A megaphone after a rollover high, and then you start to curl below the previous high. This looks like a potential dead cat, but a dead cat with a healthy weekly breaking out. Like, it's not really something I want to go super long on. It's also not something I really want to short. It's like if this thing breaks out to new highs, maybe we got another 50% up from there. If this thing ends up rolling over and going to 65, I wouldn't be shocked. So it's really tough structure there, in my opinion. Really tough structure. I don't have a ton of experience with that. Barry's probably really pissed off about over the last week because I'm pretty sure he like reset his shorts right after this thing broke out of this. And that also could be why it's struggling. You know, he might be the fuel for higher later. And that's about all I had to really comment on. I did eventually get burned out of Nike today. It looks pretty dead. McDonald's looked like it wanted to make me look stupid, but it rolled over. It looks like shit. Costco kind of back testing this like breakout again. Had a really nice move recently, but you know, like this 65 minutes about to fire. The daily's actually firing. Kind of hard to see there, but the daily actually rolled over, which kind of spooked me out earlier, and now it's firing again. The weekly's rolling up, but the 2 days kind of rolling over. So, you know, I keep trying this one, and I eventually just said, screw it. You know, like it keeps burning me out with just crazy price action and distribution. So I just want to go long. I just feel like this thing's going higher. I mean, this structure is really, it's sloppy, but it's nice. It's sloppy, but it's nice. You know, it's a very inappropriate joke I want to make, but we're just going to move on. All right. God bless. Good night. Sorry, this is a bit longer and it's super late. See you all in the morning.